So welcome to this broadcast. So I'm gonna talk about, STEM education, and then I'll talk about um, some, you know, of the key focus areas or areas of cooperation in our Memorandum of Understanding with the National Science and Technology Council uh, regarding our MOU on STEM, innovation, and uh, you know, areas to do with technology and stuff like that. Then I'll go ahead and talk about a demo on this STEM kit that I have here. So I noticed that yesterday um, when I posted this STEM kit, there were a number of questions that people were trying to ask and trying to find out different, things about what this STEM kit does, what it is, and many questions like that. So probably today it's an opportunity for me to just try and, you know, showcase this product to the people and to those who may be interested. in what we're doing here at Z Study. So once more, I'm your host, Engineer Kalembo Kefas, the founder and Chief Technology Officer here at Z Study. So I'll quickly get into this. We have uh, made it our business to contribute to STEM education in Zambia. And we are doing this by providing tools that allows, learners to experience this STEM in a more realistic and practical way. So STEM has been, emphasized a lot in Zambia. Uh, and some of the key areas in which STEM plays a huge role is to ensure that learners get to have, the practical aspect of the field they're studying. This field could be in the field of engineering. It could be in the field of science, technology, or even mathematics. So STEM education basically is a concept that focuses on the combination or those studies that falls under mathematics, um, those studies that falls under sciences, and those studies that falls under, engineering as well as technology. So if you look at this, you quickly realize that most of these disciplines are actually interrelated or connected in some way. And so it then means that those people who are studying these fields that are around these areas have a way in which they interlink or they interrelate like that. Now, for us here at Z Study, what we have done is that we have ensured that we make this our business to provide tools that allows for STEM education. And now these tools comes in various forms, which I'll show you when we get into just a demo of these STEM kits and what they're capable of doing. So I encourage you to, support us by sharing this broadcast. It's the only thing that we are asking for: sharing, liking, commenting. When you just come across this, please do share and comment. Leave a comment there so that we could know that you're watching us, as well as you can let other people know that we are discussing these things like this by just mentioning them, those you think would be interested in things like this, so that they could benefit from these things that we're doing here. So I'm just waiting for a number to be a little bit, so that I can get into the details of what I need to share with you today on this platform. Okay, so we can start. And please, can you just confirm if you can hear me? Can you confirm you can hear me? You can just drop a comment so that I know that you can hear me. Can you hear me right? So we can continue now. So like I was saying earlier, in this broadcast, we are looking at STEM education. We are looking at these STEM kits here. So these are the STEM kits that we have developed here at the Z Study Center for STEM. So what we are through learners in STEM in a practical way, but not only that, these products. Please, can someone just confirm my voice is clear? You can hear me? Can someone just drop a comment so that I know if you can? Okay. So, yeah, I think I've confirmed that the. Okay, so how do we deal with this? Okay, we can do that. I think that's the best way to do this. So for those ones who are streaming from Z Study page, please, there's a promotion running. So just follow the instructions clearly, and you stand the chance to win 100 kwacha for yourself. Just follow those instructions very clear there, because this will be quite interesting, and I hope you walk away with 100 kwacha. Lina, I can see you, first one to join. Okay, that's nice. Ensure you follow the instructions as they are saying there, so that you could stand a chance to just win something for yourself. So in any case, we can get into it. So what we are saying here is that STEM education has the potential to, revolutionize the economy of the country. An example of that is the United States of America. As we have seen, they heavily invested in science. As the President Eisenhower in those days, he signed a STEM bill. And from that time, we have seen that America has been on top of things for the most time. They have got Silicon Valley. They have, the strongest army. It's not because the people there, they are strong. It's because the technology actually supports them in most of their endeavors. And also, we are saying that this STEM also can improve our economy, in the sense that we will be makers of things and not just consumers. Okay, so we'll be producing things, we'll be making our own things, we'll be manufacturers, we'll be, even if we may not be manufacturers, we may also be exporting knowledge or protected knowledge in form of patents. So we can also build, through STEM, we can build an knowledge economy that will allow us to export protected knowledge such as copyright and patents. So please pardon my voice. I've been working since morning, so I'm a bit, tired here and there. But the point I'm trying to make there with all this is that STEM education would prepare the learners to be, makers, to be quite practical and in that sense. And so it's important that every parent look out for a child to go to a school that embraces STEM, because the less we are doing that, the more you are disadvantaging your children to come and actually benefit from the proceeds of STEM. And also it is also important that we those who are in corporate world, we support STEM in any way you can. One ways in which a corporate body can support STEM is to partner with Z Study. You purchase some of these kits that you're producing, and you actually showcase these to you donate these to schools that could find these STEM kits useful for them. And so that's one way in which a corporate organization can contribute to STEM in the community. But also as an individual, you can also contribute to STEM by ensuring that you participate in discussions that has to do with STEM. You collaborate with uh, the government, especially those organizations that has to do with that are responsible for things to do with science, technology, and engineering and innovation as per se. So it could be quite important if, as a nation, we adopted this STEM thing, so that we can ensure that people could benefit in a longer run from this, both economically, security-wise as a nation. We could also benefit from this through, having a country that are makers of different products and not just consumers. So I would move a bit into details of what we are doing as a company. So we have interest in STEM education, but that's not the only thing that we do here. So that's to do a bit of clarification on the things that we do. Myself and the team, we build softwares, we build electronic devices such as these. I would show you how some of our products looks like. So this product was developed here, okay, with the team at Hero Control Systems. So this particular product was developed here. So you could see we have products like these. So these products were developed at this place, like that. So these are all these are electronic products. They have got different application, but not in education. But this particular live stream is focusing on, education. Now, when we say STEM, most people confuse STEM education as a secondary school, a pedagogy of learning or of teaching, if you can call it that way. But that's a misconception, because STEM goes all the way to university. So if you went to the university and you studied medicine, that's STEM. You studied nursing, that's STEM. You went to the university, you started engineering like myself, that's equally STEM. And so if you went to the university, you studied environmental engineering, mining engineering, you studied mathematics, you studied chemistry, you studied physics, that's equally STEM, okay? So what that means then is that we are encouraging everyone who falls under the umbrella of STEM to be quite practical in the way they learn or teach STEM. Thank you so much, Jonathan Francis Kasonde. Cheers, man. Thank you so much to see you after a while. I hope you're doing well after graduating. How is the industry treating you, man? How is everything going? Thank you so much to know that you're following, actually. So with all this, it then means that the way the learning is done should somehow change. should somewhat change because it should somewhat change because if our learning changes, where we are more STEM focused in the way the learning is done, it then means that we are not going to be producing, students who can't do anything. We'll be producing students who will be contributing to our society. Now, there's a misunderstanding with what education is, as I've noticed mostly in this country. Education is not going to attend a class and acquire a fancy name of whatever degree that you get or diploma, whatever certification that you get. Education is actually you learning something that should change, that should have an effect on your life or the way you do things. So I'll give an example. When you say someone has gone to a driving school to learn to drive, what you expect is that that particular individual, upon graduating from that particular driving school, they should be able to drive a car as we expect. And that's a simple example of education. It should be able to change something. Okay. Education is not a matter of you going to acquire a certification without knowing anything that you can actually do, and then you come and masquerade to come and steal people's money where you want to work without you being able to, contribute anything to the society, to the nation, or to the company that you are working for. That's not what education is. Education brings about change because you have learned something new. So there's a need for, there's a need for a change actually, to see a change in the way people who have acquired education behave, in the way people have acquired education, bring solution to the community, bring solutions to the companies they work for. But the challenge has been that people go to a university, and I'm speaking for people who falls under STEM because at least that's where I belong. But I know that the concept applies to this concept applies to almost everyone. So we are then saying that there's a bit of a problem there if learning is about you acquiring a fancy paper that you can't do anything with it, but you still want some people to give you money. You still want the community to give you, some kind of an advantage and that you do not deserve. That's not what education is about. Education is about acquiring knowledge that effects change in the way things are done in your personal life, things are done in the community you come from. And it's actually on that pretext that despite all other things that we do at Hero Control Systems, which basically is a parent company that owns Z-Study, we also have taken it uh, to be our problem to solve whatever that we can do within the knowledge that we have acquired in the education sector. Now, what we're saying with all this is that we are contributing to STEM education through provisioning of tools that are not easily available locally, so that the learners in schools, the learners in universities should benefit from this. And there's a bit of pretense that I noticed that when people go to the university to study, most of the time is that the things that happen there is just most of recitation, remembering, and things like that. But STEM says that you need to be hands-on, you need to be practical. So what you're saying is that, for instance, if the Copperbelt University procured these STEM kits like these, they are not only going to procure a product, they are not only going to procure a product, but there will be a level of inspiration that you come from using, a tool like this, especially that it was made here in Zambia. It was designed by Zambians, assembled by Zambians. There's a level of pride and a level of inspiration that comes with that, because most people in these universities, they go there not knowing exactly what they're supposed to do with their degree they're acquiring. Okay, these are facts. and it's evident through, people not knowing exactly what they want to study, but the points that they make at the university decides what they will study. I find that to be um, backwards, because it's not about how well someone performs in 1 year that should decide how or what kind of career someone should embark on. Okay, so it's things like this, that someone wanted to be a medical doctor, they end up being an engineer, and the all practicality and stressfulness of the physicality of the skill itself, leave them, uh, frustrated in some sense. So at the end of the day, it turns out that they can't contribute properly to they can't contribute properly to the to the fraternity, or to the profession in which they fall under. Um, we also have a number of scientists who cannot properly carry out research uh, in the country, but they have very heavy qualifications, but they cannot properly contribute to the development of the country, and that becomes a problem. And it also means that you are robbing us as a people of the community you come from, because you went to the university to acquire knowledge that should allow you to be able to positively contribute to the community, the society, the family you're coming from, and things like that. So it's unfortunate then that this is the case, but we are also saying with STEM, it's a concept that is trying to change these things. Now, it's a concept that is encouraging doing and less of theory in the way the learning is done, as well as in the way the teaching is also carried out. Now, within the minimal resources that we have as a company, as well as the expertise that we have, we went ahead to partner with the Ministry of Technology and Science, and the essence there is to ensure that we promote STEM and STEM education positively, so that the learners can benefit in some of these schools. So we actually signed an MOU with the Ministry of Technology and Science under their agency called National Science and Technology Council. So what we did there is that we have penned down this memorandum of understanding. Now, in this memorandum of understanding with the National Science and Technology Council, which is a council empowered through the Act of Parliament, so it's constitutionally mandated to promote science research, technological research, technology development, and to administer these things. So in case you didn't know, this is also an informative session for you to actually, understand what some of the functions of the National Science and Technology Council are. So I would cite a little bit, because these are our partners now. We are working together. We have penned down this memorandum of understanding, and we have selected key area of focus, just to ensure that we contribute to the national development through education and technological adoption amongst schools. So the National Science and Technology Council, or NSTC for short, it's an agency of government that is, enacted through the Act of Parliament, and its principal functions includes promotion and advocacy of science and technology. So they promote, publicize, the broad national prioritizes in science and technology. They promote the development of an indigenous technological capacity, integration of gender concerns in science, technology, and innovation. So that is one of the many functions that the National Science and Technology Council have. And so as you could see from there, they are promoting and advocating for development of science and technology, and to promote the development of indigenous technological capacity. And this is where Z Study and the team comes in. So we are indigenous Zambians, and we are falling under that section where there's development of indigenous technological capacity. So our partnership with the National Science and Technology Council, which is a private-public partnership, to actually, because that's a private company for profit. So partnering with the National Science and Technology Council, it's just a flagship to show what we can do with our own government. Now, the other function of the National Science and Technology Council also is to mobilization of resources. So they mobilize and making available financial and human and other resources, including science and technological information, for science and technological research and development and things of that nature. They also issue and comment on policy. They also administer, science and technology in that sense. So our partnership, or our MOU with the government, and particularly under the National Science and Technology Council, firmly focuses on promotion of STEM. And like I've labored to explain what STEM is and what its important is on the first segment of this conversation, our key area of cooperation in our MOU actually delves into STEM promotion. It delves onto policy and policy contribution and formulation, and as well as commenting, so that when the policies are being developed, they favor the local innovation, they favor the local techpreneurs or technological entrepreneurs. So policies that have a trickle-down effect to the local people. So now on this policy issue, I'm quite interested in it because policy drives how the economy of the nation, performs. Now, and it also influences the business environment, and also it influences, the growth. It stimulates the growth of, small to medium businesses. So with policy, I think I'm quite interested to see how we can promote innovation locally. And, this is a concept where we hear people talk about a lot, in Zambia, we can't even build in Zambia, we can't even build, things like a toothpick. In Zambia, we can't even make our own tissue, and things like that. But ideally, this is not more of what the Zambian people can do, but it's also more of the policy. And I'm saying it's not more of what our capacity is, because as I have, demonstrated with the team at Hero Control Systems, we have shown what the Zambians are capable of doing. But for for wide adoption of things like this in the country, depends on how the policy is aligned. Because if someone could easily import, something like this from China, so this is just a little bulb I'm holding in my hands. So if we can easily, import this, if we can easily import this, you can just easily import this from China. What that simply means is that those local makers of bulbs would be difficult for them to actually grasp the market and find local Zambian product, and even just for companies locally to mobilize funds, invest in research and development, and start putting tangible products on the market would be quite challenging because there's a market that offers cheaper alternatives and things like that. But then the challenge with all this is that we remain a dysfunctional society that can't fend for itself in terms of making things for itself. And all this seems to be funny, not until when we get to a point where we have a war, like what you have seen, which is happening in Russia, what is happening in Ukraine, what's happening in Gaza, and what's happening in Israel, and many other parts of the world that are facing, war. Now, in times like this, it then means that it either becomes very expensive to import things from, countries like China, or it becomes, almost impossible to import. Now, it's at times like that when we can now ask ourselves the question to say, how then do we survive as a country if we have we find ourselves in circumstances like that? Look at what is happening to Ukraine. Ukraine is quite a way advanced country as compared to Zambia. We even, get scholarship in this country to go and study in Ukraine and things like that. But look at what's happening to them. And Ukraine is a company that makes their own things. They even export a whole lot of things. But the challenge has been to them that they have to wait, for the well wishers like the USA to send them, guns and other things that they need, But now it becomes quite difficult if we can't make anything of our own. We need to start promoting made in Zambia. All right, it shouldn't just be a word of the mouth. It should be something that we are doing. When you see something made in Zambia, you need to promote, and you promote things in different way. Even if you do not want to buy this STEM kit, for the fact that it's Zambian, it's made by a Zambian, you need to find a way in which you can promote by simply sharing, telling someone about it who you think would be interested, posting it on you, because it's a pride of the nation. Okay, this has been made by Zambians, and if you found yourself in a situation that you can't make, someone is telling you to say Zambians, you can't even design a toothpick. This is something that you could show to them to say we can, and we have done that before. So this is a pride of the nation. We need to start, um, uh, uh, feeling proud of things that are made here in Zambia by Zambians, and of course. There are some few detriments that comes with locally made products, and this is almost everywhere. So we need also to be quite patient with our innovation, entrepreneurship, and manufacturing industry in the country, because this hasn't been going on for a long time. We cannot compete with a product that's coming from a country where they have been manufacturing for the past 70, 80, 100 years. They have been manufacturing cars, and then we want to compete in aesthetics. We want to compete in functionality, in efficiency, in performance with those other countries. It's not possible. But if we do not start, when then do we start? That is the question. If we do not start now, when then do we start? We need to start now. We need to start, pushing this agenda. And this is the reason why for us we are partnering with the government to contribute in whatever capacity we can within our limited abilities, expertise, and resources, so that we could drive the agenda for start making things in Zambia, or exporting protected knowledge, so that we could have that, our national pride and identity, through manufacturing, through patents, copyrights, innovations, inventions, and things like that. That's what we need to focus on. So the team here at Z Study is a team that's quite youthful. Most of the people that are at this place are quite youths, and we have our strength in being young, and looking forward to the partnership that we have with the Ministry of Science and the and Technology through the National Science and Technology Council, to see what we can, achieve together as a private partner to our government and contribute. And I'm very confident enough that we are going to contribute a lot, looking at the fact that we, with the things that we're doing and stuff like that. So we are quite, optimistic of the things that we achieve under this MOU. So now I want to show you what we have done at Z Study. Particularly, I want to do a bit of a demo on this particular, STEM kit. So what we have here, I'll get this one as an example so that it could come quite closer. So what we have done here, is that we have. Let me do this. All right. Thank you. So what we have done here is that we have developed this STEM kit. Okay. Now this particular STEM kit answers to a lot of, educational needs, both in the university as well as in the secondary school. So now what we are saying here is that we have streamlined, different things that could be achieved on this particular STEM kit. Now, when you say STEM kit, what we are meaning there is that this is a kit that will allow you to build or to learn STEM. Now, what is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM. So what you're going to achieve with this board is that we have left, these connecting pins here that we have left for the learners to decide. We call these as expandable IOs. So when you say expandable IOs, we mean these are expandable input-output ports. Okay, so it allows a learner to decide to say, no, I want to connect an LED here so that I can perform some functionality with that LED. So this is an example of an LED. So when you're growing up, I think in my space, we used to call this as psychedelics. Okay, but when I grew up, I realized that psychedelic is actually a medicine. So we used to call these as psychedelics. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that this STEM kit can perform various things. Now, amongst the other things that it can do is that we have left this line of connectors here. We call this in engineering as expandable IOs. So when you say expandable IOs, we mean that these are expandable input-output ports. Now, if these are expandable input-output ports, what it means is that a learner, as they continue learning on the guidance of the teacher, they'll come to a point where now they realize that they know too much. They would want now to experiment and see what they can do by themselves. Now, these expandable IOs, like I've emphasized, they become useful at that particular time. Why? Because now it gives the learner an opportunity to actually start experimenting and building different things that they may find reasonable just within here. So I'll demonstrate, because my explanation here is starting with the expandable IOs, like I've said. So I'll demonstrate how these expandable IOs actually works. Let me just set up the camera properly so that I could demonstrate this without much of a trouble. So I'm bringing this closer there. Let me just do this so that it's quite visible. I can see that my network is a bit bad. I hope it can stabilize so that we can get the best possible image from this. So as I was explaining about the expandable IOs, they are here. All these are expandable IOs, all these that you're seeing here. So there. So now if a child learns after some time, they realize now, so now I understand this. I want to experiment in my own way. Okay. They can get this thing I was jokingly saying when I was growing up. We used to call these as masacadelics. So these are called LED, so light emitting diode. So it's just a diode that emits light. Um, so they can get this and then connect. They can say, okay, I want to connect this to pin 13. So they identify which one is pin 13 here, and there they go. They connect it like that. And as you could see, that will start working like that. All right. Now it is working now because I programmed this chip already. Now this chip that I had programmed, it's an Arduino chip. It's an ATmega, okay, an ATmega microchip that is sitting there, generally called an Arduino chip, an Arduino microcontroller. So I programmed this. I connected this to the computer using just a cable like this one. So this cable, you can connect this cable to this point like that. Now, after I've connected it like that, you can now go ahead and connect this to the computer. Now, after you connect this to the computer, then now you can write a program that allows this particular port to behave the way you want it to behave. In this case, I programmed this port 13 to, we call this as blinking, to blink the light emitting diode. So the light emitting diode is blinking there. It's blinking. Every after 1 second, it blinks. Every after 1 second, it blinks. So this here is what the learners can achieve with the expandable IOs, right? Now, they can also connect a sensor. Okay, they can decide to say, I want to connect a sensor to the expandable IO so that this particular sensor can actually, you know, uh, you know, collect some information and then process that information through here, and then it controls the motor based on what that information is, or it controls the light, or it controls the clock. As you can see, I've got a clock here. You can build a watch through this particular thing here, or it can write a number. So if it reads a distance and then it writes a number on this 7-segment display there. So those are things that they can do on these expandable IOs, or they can even build, here they can build, for instance, they can build a solar charger, a 12-volt solar charger. They can build a 12-volt solar charger on this panel by just connecting a voltage sensor. So by bringing a voltage sensor to one of these, maybe you can connect our voltage sensor between A7 and ground. We connect our voltage sensor there, and that voltage sensor will be reading the voltage that is coming from the battery to ensure that the battery is fully charged, and then we cut the charging and we control the charging like that. With this, the learners can be able to build a solar charger with this. All right, they can be able to build that. Now we have got, this side we've got a circuit, as you could see here. These are circuits that you have probably seen before in a classroom. Now probably I would use this to just bring it closer, closer enough here so that you can see that. So these are circuits that you have probably seen before in a classroom. Now these circuits that you're seeing here, you now give a child an opportunity to build that particular circuit. You have got a V in there, and all that, and you have got a bulb that can connect. They put a resistor there. They put a capacitor there. So it's an RLC. So you can connect a resistor, a inductor here. You can connect a capacitor there. You can connect all that arrangement like that. So at least a child will be able to verify that theory that you're solving on the board, because that theory on the board, oftentimes it doesn't represent the reality, as I'll show you just in a moment. So these STEM kits gives that basic understanding of the importance of to build things, to innovate, and to look at learning in a different way rather than just cramming some information and memorizing them and things like that. Because most of the engineers that you'd see, or computer scientists that you'd see, when you ask them to say, how does a logic gate looks like? Okay, how does a logic gate looks like? How does the logic gate looks like? Chances are very high that they would draw a triangle, or some very funny stuff like this. Let me bring this closer. Okay, I'll bring this closer so that you can see what's happening here. So chances are very high that when you ask them to say how does the logic gate looks like, they will draw something like what you're seeing here. Okay, they will draw a rectangle like that. I mean, sorry, a triangle like that. And with the way you are looking at that, that's what they would draw. So this is how a logic gate looks like. And that's a challenge or the limitation of theory, because in theory, when you're learning about logic gates, this is how we represent them. This is just a symbol. Okay, this is just a representation. Okay, this is just a representation. It does not say this is how a logic gate looks like. Okay, so these symbols that you are seeing here, these symbols that you are seeing here, these symbols that you are seeing here, these symbols, that's not what a logic gate is. It doesn't look like that in real life. So if you got these theoretical engineers or or scientists who did not take it upon themselves to apply whatever knowledge they learned to understand what this is, they will tell you to say, no, a not gate looks like this one, and they will draw it like that because that's what they learned. All right, because this is the symbol that the lecturer drew on the board. So it's now imagine, I want you to think of this as someone graduates from the university, you hire them at your workplace, and for argument's sake, just for this conversation, we say they are, your handsman or your spanner boy, as we call it, like that. So then you tell them, say, can you go and bring me a knot gate? All right, in that box there on that shelf, go and bring me a knot gate. They'll be thinking as they are going to that particular shelf to find a triangle like this as the knot gate they are looking for. They'll be looking for this. All right. It will not cross their mind that a logic gate actually looks as this little black thing that you're seeing here. My network is really bad. I think, I don't know if you can see, but I think you can see this little black thing here. Okay, you can see this little black thing here. You can see that. Okay, so just that little thing there. Okay, and this is just in a different packaging. We also have the DIP packaging, the one that looks a little bit larger like that. There is no logic gate that has ever been manufactured that looks like this. There's no logic gate that looks like this. Okay, there's no logic gate that looks like that. I can assure you that there's no logic gate that looks like that. But the challenge has been that with the theory. Okay, the challenge has been with the theory. Now, with the theory, what someone think a diode looks like, it's like a little triangle with a plus and things, and it ends there. Okay. It could even be difficult to identify a resistor to some people. Okay, because the resistor is not just in that way that most people think it is. It comes in different formats, in different packages and stuff like that. So with the STEM education, what you're saying is that working together with the government, we're encouraging parents, we're encouraging school owners, we're encouraging those who are running universities, colleges. So let's support each other. Let's buy Zambian. And because when you buy this and then you say, oh, actually this was built by an engineer who was just here at CBU not long ago, all right? What those learners are going to get is not only the concept that you are teaching, they'll get that inspiration, they'll get that motivation to say, we can do more as graduates from the Copperbelt University. We can do more. It's not just that things are that difficult. We'll be able also to do more because one of us built this and we're using it. All right. And that's how it's supposed to be. It starts small like that. Okay. It starts very small. Now, when we are starting like this, we are motivating, our colleagues and things like that. What it will mean now is that you are building a generation of makers. We are building a generation of innovators. We are building a generation of techpreneurs and things like that. So this particular STEM kit can do that, right? It can also, you see we've got a button here. This is an input. For those in the tech space and all that, I think you understand the importance of having a button on something like this, because you can learn how to program a button. Programming a button, those buttons that you take for granted when you're pressing your phone, you're pressing the keyboard, is quite tricky. It's not that easy, I can tell you that. It will be easier to do most of the complicated things, but a button is quite tricky because it's time bound. It's an interrupt, and it's it's a bit difficult to implement a button in a lot of use cases. It's difficult. If you ask this question to someone who is in a university, still a student, they will tell you, no, a button is very easy to implement on a microcontroller or in a microprocessor, but in reality, it's quite difficult. So we have put it here so that they can learn what an interrupt is. They can learn what type of interrupts are there. They can learn, the importance of having a button. When do you need a button? When don't you need a button? And things like that. Should you implement a software-based interrupt? Should you implement a hardware-based interrupt with this particular button? And you go ahead also to look at what kind of resistors are you going to connect to this button in order for this to work properly? Are you going to connect a pull down resistor, or do you need a pull up resistor, and things like that? So all those are detailed, lessons that students would be able to learn just from this. Now, who is this board meant for? This board is meant for students from as low as grade 8 to students as high as those doing their masters. Okay, masters at these universities, University of Zambia, Copperbelt University, masters, they can find a use for this particular board, because if you are doing your masters in computer science, you are developing an algorithm or a firmware to control a robot or stuff like that, this would be a good evaluation board for you. All right, it would be a good evaluation board for you to be able to achieve things like those. So it's cross-cutting. Those who are learning, at undergraduate, you're learning computer architecture as topics, or and things like that. This or courses that has to do with things like that. When you're learning about logic gates, now you'll be seeing it rather than hearing a story. You'll be able to see it. You're studying mechatronics, you're studying, computer engineering, you're studying computer science, electrical and electronics, telecoms. This, you can, with telecoms here, you could be able to learn how do you set up a core, how do you tear down a core, how can I implement, things like the SS7 technology and stuff like that. Just here, because the advantage is you could even hook up, extra, things like a GSM module that will allow you to play in the GSM domain, build applications in the GSM domain and stuff like that. So it's a board that is quite cross-cutting. But some exciting stuff is that we can also do motor control. Motor control is also something that is quite elaborate and difficult to work with. So this motor is a stepper motor. Okay, so this is a stepper motor. So when you're building a stepper motor, I mean, when you're developing an application to do with a stepper motor, it's quite involving, it's quite interesting. So for a student who's studying, electrical engineering, motor theory, when you're learning about your DC motors, how to control DC motors and stuff like that, it becomes quite useful, because you can connect this. A stepper motor is quite complex. A servo motor is also quite complex. A standard DC motor as well. So you could be able to connect this to this and be able to read that and be able to control this motor through a program, through a computer program. You just need to get these pins. As you could see, we have got these pins at the end here. You connect them to this particular point there. So all of the four we have created, we have left an expandable IO here, so number one goes there, okay, it goes there. The other one that follows also go there. Another one that follows also go there. And you wire all of them there, and then you program. And then you do micro stepping, you do all those intricates of stepper motor and all that. And with this, you can grab any other motor that you could find, as long as it's a DC motor. You bring it here, you wire it, and then you write a program for it and control that motor with a program. So it becomes quite interesting to work with this particular kit. We have got a pin, 3 ports here that just allows you to connect a servo motor. As you can see, this one just here, and also at the center of all this, you have got these logic gates that you are seeing here. Now, these logic gates that you are seeing here will allow you to build things like, where can I even start from? Logic gates are fundamental building blocks, okay? Logic gates are fundamental building blocks in digital circuits, okay? These logic gates here plays a crucial role in processing the information that is in form of binary, manipulating that data. These gates perform logical and numerical operations based on Boolean algebra, allowing for complex functions to be implemented within electronic devices through these logic gates. It's a fundamental of digital circuits, including a computer. All right. Logic gates enable the creation of various digital components such as the adders, the multiplexers, the decoders, and flip-flops, forming the backbone of the modern computing systems. Now you find that someone went to study computer engineering, they cannot even understand these logic gates properly. The problem is that it was all theory. There was no practical that was properly done. Now what we are saying is that these logic gates here facilitates the implementation of arithmetic operation, data storage, decision-making processes with electronics, because this NAND gate which we have just here, these NAND gates, can actually allow you to build a computer memory, just this, all right? Can allow you to do that. And you'd find that most of the flash disks, drives and all that, most of these onboard flash memories that you find like on a device like this one, the microcontroller, these flash drives on here are built on NAND logic gate technology, using NAND logic gates, and by combining different logic gates, as you could see them here, in their own specific configurations, you'd realize that engineers can design, intricate circuits that perform wide range of tasks efficiently. The significance of logic gates extends beyond individual components to the entire systems, influencing the performance and capability of electronic devices. Moreover, understanding these logic gates that you're seeing here is essential for troubleshooting and optimizing digital circuits. Engineers rely on their knowledge of gates behavior to diagnose issues and improve circuit efficiencies, and things like that. So identifying faulty gates or incorrect connections is crucial for maintaining the functionality of electronic system. Optimizing circuit designs by selecting appropriate gate types and configurations can enhance performance and reduce power consumption. So these logic gates that you are seeing here is not only for school-going children, all right? For someone who is, a proper electronics engineer in the industry, you could refresh your mind, play with this, theorize and come up with, proper understanding of certain concepts that you may not be understanding properly. So I encourage all of you to, help us sensitize this to your children, sensitize this to, learners in your schools, adopt this in your schools, adopt this in your universities, adopt this in your studies, so that we can be able to move forward as a country. Now, these STEM kits, in conclusion, in partnership with the National Science and Technology Council, as you could see, their emblem is just here. So we look forward to collaborating with you and working with you. And please Remember to share this live stream. When you come through it, just click on the share button, and so that we could be able to reach as many people as possible. And that's the only way you could also support us. Thank you so much, and enjoy your evening.